It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Merry Christmas, my friends. Wild Will, Uncle Chris from Slumberland at the Lake for a Christmas edition of a cup of coffee. We got a good one. Chris and I are going to talk a little bit about the Christmas season. Hope you guys are enjoying.
We got our cup of cheer right here, baby.
Yeah, cup of cheer. Now, I don't have as classy of a cup of cheer. I got my signature Golden Arches cup of cheer. But listen, on today's show, we'll talk a little bit about Christmas nightly rentals in Lake Ozark.
Yeah.
They pass 4-2. What's next? We'll tell you that. Also going to remind you 12 days of Christmas giveaways presented by Slumberland at the Lake.
Boy, you're really spending a lot of money in that, man.
Well, not me. A lot of our partners are donating stuff. Like we had, wait till you see day 12. We'll tell you all about some of the upcoming prizes. Plus, we remember the life of Playcraft Boats founder Jim Doris, our hometown hero for the week. That and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. First and foremost, we want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Hope you and your family have some special times together. After Christmas, when you're looking for something to do, come check everything out here at Slumberland, where we have some awesome deals going on. It's our inventory reduction sale. Everything is on sale at some wonderful prices. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, now, Chris, last week we had Mayor Dennis Newberry on the show to talk about City of Lake Ozark. I didn't even know that you couldn't have nightly rentals.
I didn't either. I know there was a ruling we talked about last year. The judge made a ruling that had something to do with this, and I called the judge stupid. Sorry, Judge. Yeah, this is kind of all coming out of nowhere.
Right.
And they're dealing with it now.
They are, and so it was brought that they wanted to do away with the ban on nightly rentals in Lake Ozark. And so planning and zoning had gotten involved, and then last Tuesday night, the Board of Aldermen in Lake Ozark had met, and they voted 4-2 to lift that ban. And so I asked Dennis, Mayor Newberry, followed up with them. Of course, our time with him was before the Alderman meeting, and he said, so there will be another hearing in January, but I have no reason to believe that any of the Aldermen, would change their mind leading into that. So it looks like that's a done deal. You see Dennis, Mayor Newberry's Facebook post there last night. Our Board of Aldermen in a 4-2 vote took one small step for our citizens' property rights and one giant leap for Lake Ozark. Pretty cool. And then also the candy throwing during parades in Lake Ozark soon to be welcome. Thank you for supporting Lake Ozark, of course, alluding to that, which was another popular topic for Lake Ozark. Such a busy time, and it kind of gets lost on you, but Tuesday was Gary Launderville's retirement party at the City of Lake Ozark. This week we have City Administrator Harrison Fry on What's Burning. He talks to me about that 4-2 vote, what exactly that means, what's next, and how he's enjoying his time as the new city administrator. So make sure you catch this week's edition of What's Burning, because really, this is an exciting time for the City of Lake Ozark. Yeah,
a lot of changes, a lot of things moving positive. I think this is what the citizens wanted when they voted write-in candidate Dennis Newberry as the mayor, and he seems to be cleaning up a lot of bad stuff, dirty stuff, and getting things back on the right track. And Harrison Fry taking over as a city manager, I think is that his title. And I'm really looking forward to your interview with him on What's Burning to get things from his standpoint, his viewpoint. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he is one of the rising stars in our communities as far as he's young, and he had to deal with some it was some tough circumstances earlier. Thought he was getting ready to get named, and the city wanted to be diligent, was the right move.
Yep.
Got a little bit of time under an experienced city administrator, Metrum, and now that he's in there, I think it's very clear he is the guy, and I think the city is in really good hands, and I'm really looking forward to you guys getting to hear from Harrison Fry. Again, that's on What's Burning this week, so make sure you check that out. All right, so our next story, we're talking about the 12 days of Christmas giveaways presented by Slumberland at the Lake. Jill's a huge part of that, and then we've had a lot of local businesses that have donated, thrown in some cash to cover some of the cost, and so we got 12 crazy prizes, about a weekend so far, depending on when you watch this. And listen, all of those prizes you can still sign up for all the way up until December 26th.
Wow.
We're going to draw on the 27th right here at Slumberland at the lake, and then we're going to do our grand prize drawing with Daryl. That's massive.
Wow. Well, and if you haven't seen those yet on social media, they're incredible. They're awesome. I mean, so like every day I'm seeing Wild Will giving something new away, and it's not just some, here's a piece of candy. It's something big, man. I mean,
Mondays was Osage River Popcorn, David Ridgely. They put together almost a $400 gift basket, like 10 flavors of popcorn. There's a gift card, 2 pounds of coffee. I mean, there's so much great stuff. And we wanted to increase engagement in my personal social media channels to overcome this shadow ban, talking of
and those are real. I mean, we're finding out from the Twitter files, those are real.
Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, it's all real. Actually, we're probably going to get one for that.
There we go.
Very realistically. But so go check that out and listen. So if you missed the first week and you're just now finding out about it, you have until the 26th of December to go in and enter all 12 of those days. Each day's winner will then be entered into the grand prize drawing. It is from Slumberland at the Lake, and I'm telling you, the value is $3,500.
Wow, well, these are big things. I mean, the other day I saw you giving away Chiefs tickets.
Yeah.
Right, and it's day after day of this, so very cool, pretty amazing. That's fantastic.
Super exciting. It's what the Christmas time is all about. Be joyful, be merry, and bless those around you. And we love that here at Lake TV. All right, so big news. Lake of the Ozarks Shootout. Going to be some serious changes. But first, this week, a big check presentation. They were able to present a large check to the Missouri Make-A-Wish Foundation. Tom Kitchen and Michelle and Tom Kitchen from Lake TV were there. Got photos and videos, and just a big $139,000 donated to Make-A-Wish of Missouri and Kansas, I believe.
Yeah, that's kind of, the two states kind of work together. So $139,000 at the annual Shootout Wishing on a Ride event. Wish kids with illnesses or disabilities who have a wish granted by Make-A-Wish get a powerboat ride from Captain Ron's. And this thing has grown so much over the last few years. They've had to double it, right? So they do one part of the Wishing on a Ride at Captain Ron's. Then they go over to Performance Boat Center and they do motorcycles, sports cars, helicopter rides. It is just stunning, all the things that they're doing for these kids. And I can't watch one of those because Lake TV covers those Wishing on a Rides, and I'm always crying watching that. It just hits you, that you're seeing these kids that are probably not going to live very long getting this incredible experience, and their parents.
Yeah, it's neat. It's kind of puts things in perspective for us that are so fortunate living down here. And a lot of those, boaters that give of their time, their fuel, their boat, and then their, drive. Pretty neat. And again, it doesn't happen around Christmas, but kind of the spirit of Christmas. So great time for that check presentation. And then the other part is Shootout made an announcement that looks like there's going to be Bally Sports and CBS Sports involved in this year's coverage. Yeah,
isn't that kind of interesting that, and we were talking with the Shootout people a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling us kind of what they were planning. And basically what's happening is Shootout has gone from a little mom and pop thing. It started out, somebody had the idea, let's see whose boat can go fastest.
Right.
It started with that, and here we are 35 years later where it's just become a huge event. Yeah. This is huge business, big business. And so the Shootout people trying to keep up with that, and bring on these changes and stuff like that. So hopefully this will be a great thing for the Shootout.
Yeah, it's about growing. You saw that amount of money, and that's ultimately what it's about, $675,000 to those charities and fire departments. And so when you look at the amount of people nationally that this draws an interest from, I think CBS Sports and Bally and any national entity would be stupid not to want to get their hands on this, because it is going to become the boating mecca in the United States eventually. When you talk about the Make-A-Wish portion, don't be surprised if in a few years down the road we don't get the Kansas City Chiefs and the St. Louis Blues and Sporting Kansas City and the Cardinals involved in this, because when Missouri and Kansas Make-A-Wish organization looks at their biggest events or fundraisers, that's probably going to be one they're eventually going to be sending some of their big endorsers to.
Yeah, absolutely. And excuse me, why wouldn't you? Right. This is the biggest non-sanctioned boating event in the country, probably in the world. Why would you not jump on board with that and become a part of that? And it's really neat because back to the Wishing on a Ride thing, they tell us that all of that money, the $139,000, stays local. I mean, those funds all stay for the kids right here, which is cool. And they've got 550 kids waiting for a wish right now throughout the United States. So, wow. And just think of how that's affecting all those lives.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty behind the Shootout.
100%. And the question already being asked, will Shootout be on Lake TV in 2023? And to be perfectly honest, we just don't know.
Right.
At this point in the game. We can assure you we will be covering, we will be around, we will do everything in our power to help and add great coverage locally and nationally to the event. But we cannot answer at this point in time whether we'll have the Shootout on Lake TV, but we will be involved, we can assure you that. All right, so as we look ahead, Shootout, one of the legendary names surrounding the Lake of the Ozarks, Shootout Playcraft Boats, and the Doris family. Well, Jim Doris, well known in the boating world as the founder of Playcraft Boats, has died at age 75. He was a familiar face to the Lake of the Ozarks powerboating events, of course, including the Shootout. Now, I'm going to read his obituary. The guy was so impactful down here. Jimmy Darrell Jim Doris, son of Darrell and Mary Scales Doris, was born in Morton, Mississippi on April 25, 1944, and departed this life on December 9, 2002 in Kissimmee, Florida at the age of 78 years old. Jim graduated from high school in Morton, Mississippi, and continued his education by briefly attending a junior college. He soon joined the Army National Guard and proudly served our country until his honorable discharge in 1969. In 1968, he started building Monarch boats in Arkansas, and in 1972 relocated to Missouri to work on Appleby aluminum boats. He officially started his own boat building company, building Playcraft and Charger boats back in '74, and after 20 years of building boats, he began brainstorming on combining the comfort of a pontoon with performance. Thus, the Hydro-Tune was developed, later known as Power-Tune. His claim to fame will always be speed, and his legacy in the pontoon industry really began in 1995 with the Power-Tune design that changed the pontoon industry. Simply said, Jim Doris loved boating. On July 23, 1977, Jim was united in marriage to Carolyn, his wife, and together they have 45 years of marriage, love, laughter, precious memories together. And Carolyn, his wife, was the first female to run in the Lake of the Ozarks Shootout, and she has run every single year since winning her class. And I had the distinct pleasure of knowing the Doris family. There's a picture of one of my very first interviews I got to do on the live Shootout broadcast was with Jim and Carolyn Doris, great supporters of Lake TV and great supporters of our lake community. So Lake TV, we pass on our condolences to the Doris family and everyone that loved and will remember Jim for so many years. Just such an impactful individual.
Nice people, good people. The first interview I remember after joining Lake TV was down on the docks during Shootout, and you were talking with Jim and Doris, you know, and just sweet, sweet people. You know, you'd pull them aside, you'd talk to them, and they just had all the time in the world to talk to you, tell you their story and stuff like that. So good people, wonderful people, people like that help build the Lake of the Ozarks.
And help build the Shootout. Jim and Carolyn Doris, incredible. So we certainly offer our condolences to Carolyn and the entire family as we remember Jim Doris. All right, so our next segment, our Central Ozarks Medical Center, hometown hero. And this week, Chris, one that we're very familiar with and both love. It's the FCA's Kathy Wiesen.
Yes, indeed. So FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, such a huge player all over the country. It's become worldwide, but it's a big entity here at the lake, and Kathy Wiesen is the big reason for that. She kind of heads up the Fellowship of Christian Athletes here, not just in the lake area, but I mean, she is traveling all the time. She told me one time how many schools she had, and it was unreal. I mean, it was like...
At one point in time, it was 58.
Unbelievable.
And they divided the divisions or the areas, and that went down a little bit, which she actually struggled with letting go. But as I have, Kathy Wiesen, she grew up in Arlington, Texas, and moved to Janesville, Wisconsin when she was 10 years old in 4th grade, and then lived there through high school. She really wanted to be a coach or youth minister, and she thought it was funny how God has combined those two abilities to bring her. She came to FCA because the opening of the area representative, then that brought her to this area. And she had said she had visited the lake a couple of times, but this was what intrigued her the most, was the FCA, and she wanted to live by water. She goes, just as the Chiefs and Mahomes are revered today, she grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan, looking up to Tom Landry and Roger Staubach, who are huge in the FCA, and obviously you're familiar with that. So she grew up a Cowboys fan, and in Wisconsin, she said, she read 2 tracts from church as a teenager about their Christian faith, that being Tom Landry and Roger Staubach, and that, of course, influenced her to become a Christian. She said, when I was a baby living in Texas, my mom got pulled over while bringing me home from the doctor's appointment because they were searching for President Kennedy's killer.
Wow.
And she goes, yes, this kind of dates me
1963,
a little bit.
I think, right?
I guess. Now, in my 20s and 30s, she got to go on 2 free trips to Europe that she won. In one of her trips, she and the boys' coach were asked to coach high school teams in Switzerland where their sponsors backed out last minute. They said free, and Kathy said yes. A second trip that she won at a basketball clinic in Chicago, the drawing was held upstairs where there was a session downstairs for women's coaches. She said Debbie Ryan from Virginia was speaking. A coach from my conference came down next session and said I won the trip because I was not at the upstairs session. They drew a second name. I stood up and told everyone they were my witness, and I was at basketball session. The gentleman's name I had to find was Harry. This story was a long story for when she came on for the community spotlight. So this doesn't give a great insight, but Kathy is revered in the Lake area because of her love for these high school coaches and the way that she pours in to these student athletes. Her area representative position is very unique, and somehow Kathy's able to spread all of her time out evenly and be there. And so I thought about the importance of Kathy's role, and we see it every single year at the FCA Team Drive Banquet, and you hear these students speak and talk about what FCA has done for them. But I thought some of the people in the area that have witnessed and been closest to Kathy would be able to say it best. And so Superintendent Matt Davis from Eldon said, Kathy has made a tremendous impact on our school and community. Her passion to meet and encourage our coaches weekly has made a difference in our coaches' lives. Our community is better because of Kathy Wiesen. Dr. Billy Kurtz from Camdenton said Kathy is an inexhaustible resource for the coaches, huddle leaders, and FCA students in the area. She has at least 8 months ahead in her planning for power camps and facility usage for other needs each year, and never leaves an opportunity to spread the word to chance. She doesn't just wait for the happenings, but organizes deliberate opportunities for kids to share their testimonies, coaches to work as well as recharge, and in doing so, provides road to service for many others. That's Dr. Billy Kurtz. Coach Jeff Shore. Kathy is extremely dedicated to spreading the good word through FCA. She always has a positive attitude and great work ethic when it comes to spreading the gospel through sports. Congratulations, Kathy, said Coach Jeff Shore. And then Jason Whittle said, Kathy Wiesen is one of the most incredible people I've ever had the privilege of getting to know. She selflessly serves the entire lake area and then some by pouring into our coaches and our students. Her contributions through FCA into our community will be felt for a very long time. Her passion for people in Christ is contagious, and I'm so thankful for our coaches and for our kids that they get to experience her servant leadership. Thank you, Kathy, for all you do. That's Jason Whittle, and her impact will go far and vast for years and years. And another thing people don't realize, which I think is cool, she's the color commentator for the Mizzou women's basketball program, and she also is their team chaplain for home games and very involved. I actually went into her office. We were working on the FCA home team banquet one year, and she was hand cutting cards for all of the senior girls. That night was senior night for the Mizzou women's basketball, and she was hand cutting senior cards for each one of them. So while she was at the FCA, working, and so just amazing, gives a little idea of how special she is. And I know you think the world of Kathy Wiesen. You've got to see her firsthand. She's pretty special.
She is. Wonderful lady, changing lives every day, literally. changing and saving lives every day. So she deserves this honor.
Kathy, you're so awesome. We appreciate you, and thanks for all you do. It's why you're this week's Central Ozarks Medical Center's hometown hero. All right, so as we look at our last local story, not really local story, but I want to find out, we got to get caught up. It's so busy. It's so stressful this time of year. We've got work to wrap up on, Christmas parties, gifts to buy, traveling, food to bake. I mean, it's overwhelming at times, right? We can almost lose sight on what this time of the year is actually about. Mm-hmm. And when we look at the Christmas season, as the scripture reads, "For unto us a child was born," you talk about the significance of the birth of Christ. And if that didn't happen, if he wasn't born to the Virgin Mary, where we would be. And so I wanted to reflect a little bit on, in the hustle and bustle of 22, crazy time of year, just how thankful we here at Lake TV are that you guys have watched us, you've supported us. Jill Ray and Slumberland Furniture, they have us here every single week. They provide a platform and an outlet for us to share this. And, through the last couple of years, Chris, there's been times that we've covered some controversial topics, and never have we been preventing from doing that. It's important that we stay non-biased and truthful in our work. So we really appreciate that, but we really appreciate our community. And so, Chris, for the Christmas season, what is your favorite part about living here at Lake of the Ozarks and working with us here at Lake TV?
I think the strength of the Lake of the Ozarks obviously is its people. And here in this area, there's so much charity. There's so much of a willingness to give of people's time and energy. It's like the Shootout, all the thousands and thousands of hours that go in from hundreds of people, and not just, people looking for work, but rich people, business leaders who are willing to give up their time and their money and stuff like that. But it doesn't just happen at Shootout, it happens all year round with all of these events. And I think that is the thing I really love the most about the lake area, the people, their heart to help and for charity and whatnot, just fantastic.
Awesome. So you got any big special plans for Christmas? Are you guys traveling? Or you guys?
Yeah, we got some family coming in. We traveled out for Thanksgiving. Now they're coming in for Christmas. And I think I'll rent a hotel room or something, and get away from...
I was going to ask, do you prefer to travel to other people's places, or do you prefer to have people come in?
I grumble either way.
I prefer neither.
I'm old, old grumbly guy or whatever.
Old crotchety.
So, yeah, it's all good. It's all fun either way, just traveling, eating somebody else's food, or having them come to your place, eating your food. So that's all great.
I'm just looking forward to having the girls together, and then all the family and all the get-togethers. They are calling for some crazy weather that could prevent some traveling stuff, so hopefully that's not the case. But we just wanted to take a minute to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, and thank you guys for watching Lake TV, whether it's Cup of Coffee, whether it's What's Burning, and tell you we got some really great stuff in store for you in 2023. And so Merry Christmas. Now we're going to look ahead.
What's your favorite thing about Lake area and Christmas and all that stuff? What's your favorite thing?
Well, Christmas, I've always been such a Christmas guy because my most profound childhood memories typically involve Christmas, whether it was the Christmas Eve, soon as we got through Christmas Mass, which was always boring to me, right? Luckily I was Catholic, so it got over in like 40 minutes on Saturday night, you could get it in and out. But I always looked forward to going to my mama and papa's house, and we did our get together there. Mm-hmm. Of course, presents were a big part of that, but having all the cousins, we'd play games, we'd eat, and then as soon as dinner was over, they announced, all right, move in the living room, it's present time. And I'll never forget that it was always big gifts that I wasn't expecting. Like I got a hockey net one year and couldn't wait, so I went in the hallway and started setting it up at my grandparents' house, and I was a hockey player. And then that was all exciting, but then you still got to go home, and I would always look on the way, I think I still do this, and I'm 31, on the way home Christmas Eve, like I'm looking in the sky.
Looking for Rudolph and Santa up
looking to hear if something rose such a clatter, And so I loved that, and then loved waking up, going down the stairs in my sister's and I would decide like who's going to wake them up. And typically, they'd get upset because if I woke up at 4 o'clock, I was down in the living room and I'd fall asleep right next to that tree, and those presents, because I wanted to see who had the most. But just something about the Christmas tree, your family's not working as much, so you're together in the home more. And even though that there's more stress, there is something about this time of year that brings out the best in people. I think it's Holy Spirit. I think it's something about this time of year. But some people just enjoy, the presents and the Christmas caroling and all that. But there is something about this time of year. As they say, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah.
And, Pastor Ken Lumley's message this last Sunday was, spot on about this time of the year. And telling you what, it is a great time of the year. So there's not a lot I don't like. It's busy, it's stressful, but I am so ready for Brinley to get up Christmas morning and run out there and you see her start tearing in,
Oh, yeah. She's a little mini-me of you, man.
Yeah.
She is just so cute.
Yeah, so you think I'm so cute. Thanks, Uncle Chris. You guys heard it. Uncle Chris thinks I'm so cute.
Absolutely.
There's my Christmas present. That's all I needed. All right, so you see the Chiefs barely held on.
Oh, man, I tell you. And I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I do not think the Chiefs are championship bound this year. I don't think they're Super Bowl quality. Just because of games like last week, they played the worst team in the league, barely beat them in overtime.
Took overtime.
Right. I mean, and, championship teams don't usually play like that. Now, that being said, on any given week, they can beat anybody in the league. They could beat the Bills any given week, or the Eagles, or, whoever. But they just don't seem to be there week in and week out.
You said they could beat the Bills, and I
the Bills, they're scary good. Buffalo is scary good. They won that game over Miami last week. The Eagles scary good, but they may have an injury at quarterback now. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm getting off the Chiefs bandwagon, or they're going to break my heart, because I just don't think they have what it takes to win it this year.
You better hurry and hop on the Bills. There ain't a whole lot of room left on the Bills bandwagon, baby, because people jumping left and right. You better hurry before it's too late. But yeah, I'll tell you, Jarrett McKinnon, he had a game out of nowhere, really. He had the game-winning touchdown run. Also caught 8 passes.
Yeah.
Mahomes was good. 36 for 41. That's a superb completion percentage. No interceptions, although he did turn the football over with a costly fumble. And then next week, Christmas Eve, the Seahawks come to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Trap game for the Chiefs. Be careful.
Yeah, every game's a trap game for the Chiefs because they just play everybody, just tooth and nail. Seattle's lost like 4 of 5 or 5 of 6. But look out, you never know, Chiefs are the Chiefs. So that'll be interesting.
Did you happen to see the Central Florida Mizzou basketball game?
I saw the end of it. Wow.
How about that?
They hit a 3 at the buzzer to
And it wasn't just a 3. It was like almost from half court. It was like between half court and the 3. Is Central Florida that good?
I think they're decent. I don't think they're great.
They were 8-2 coming in. I just didn't know what their non-conference schedule was like, but I forgot the game was happening. Saturday, I thought it was later, so we're on our way to Holiday with the Horses, and I just happened to check in. I was like, they won by 2, and I went through the score tracker to see, and I was like, there's no time left. They must have won at the buzzer.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. I was happy to get the win. Gets tougher Thursday against Illinois in the bragging rights game in St. Louis, and then of course Kentucky the following Saturday. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think we'll find out. But it's good. It's a step forward for Mizzou basketball. They've won a lot of games early against nobodies, but that's okay. You need to do that to rebuild the program.
Correct. It'll be interesting to see once SEC conference play begins how real this Mizzou team is. All right, so pick 'em. That was my greatest week of the year.
Unbelievable. Like 14-1 or something?
15-1.
Unbelievable.
And there wasn't a lot of sun out this last week, but it found a way to shine on the Dogs' butt because Will went 15-1 and made up some ground on old Andy's son.
Yeah.
Only a 3-point lead. I gained 4 points on him.
Wow.
So feeling a little confident going into that Christmas break with all the football to be played.
We had 4 different picks last week, and you won all 4 of them. So
I got lucky.
Yeah.
All right, hey, some great stuff going on over the Christmas break on Lake TV. If you're stuck at home, you got lots of stuff to watch on the Community Spotlight. New Camden County Prosecutor Rochelle Christensen joins Uncle Chris. Don't want to miss that. No basketball
Yeah.
until January 10th.
Encore games. So the 2 games that we've had live for you, Versailles, Smith Cotton, and Camdenton Osage, we'll give you replays of those games.
Over the holidays. Very good. That is going to do it for our Christmas rendition of Cup of Coffee. For Uncle Chris, I'm Wild Will. Merry Christmas and God bless.